and welcome to Calm Belly TV. The topic today is what to expect at every stage of the FODMAP diet and the common pitfalls to avoid. All right, so this is going to be a juicy one. I'm going to talk to you about the elimination phase, the first stage, the reintroduction phase, and then the post-reintroduction phase of the FODMAP diet. So if you're new around here, I'm Julie O'Hara. My website is calmbellykitchen.com, and I'm a health coach who helps women with IBS manage their symptoms with a practical approach to the FODMAP diet. And Calm Belly TV is my weekly live show where I discuss a FODMAP topic and try to give you useful, really actionable tips you can use right away, as well as answer your questions. So you can bring any questions to the broadcast. It doesn't have to be just about this topic. All right, if you're watching the replay, thank you so much for taking the time to do so. You can always put a question in the Facebook group, on the Facebook page, the Calm Belly Kitchen page. You can tag me with your question under the video. I really love to hear from you, and I'd love to know what you think of this topic so I can do more videos like this, or you can suggest new topics. All right, so I'm gonna get right into it because I think I have a lot to say today. I'm excited. All right, so what to expect during every phase of the FODMAP diet. So first off, why do you need to know what to expect, right? This isn't exactly, some dangerous kind of rocket science or anything like that. But it's important to know what to expect so when challenges come up or when you're kind of scratching your head wondering if this is normal, you don't spend time feeling stuck or getting sidetracked because you're not sure if other people deal with this. And if you know that these challenges are expected and are really normal, and you know that other people have gotten through it and you see how they've gotten through it, it's a lot easier to get through it yourself because the FODMAP diet can be a big, kind of all-consuming, overwhelming process, all right? So what to expect in the elimination phase? I'm gonna pull up my notes. I've got some fabulous notes, and I will add these to the video after it's posted to the replay. So if you want to go back and get these bullet points, they'll be there as well in the text of the video. All right, so for the elimination phase. Now this is the first phase where you're just starting, and the goal is to take all FODMAP foods out of your diet to as much of a degree as possible. To eat very low FODMAP. It's impossible to eliminate every single FODMAP, and that's okay. So what you can expect is that it takes time to really get the hang of it, typically 2 to 3 weeks. So if you're in that first or second week wondering why you don't feel amazing, it's because it really does take some time. And when I say get the hang of it, I mean understanding the right portion sizes, understanding kind of how to space out your meals and eating until you're satisfied, learning to spot sneaky FODMAPs on ingredient labels, all those little things that you get better at really quickly, but it does tend to take a couple weeks. You can also expect to learn what non-FODMAP factors play a role in your digestion. So this to me is the great, super special bonus benefit of doing the FODMAP diet. You take away FODMAPs, so you suddenly start to understand how lifestyle factors and things like stress, sleep, exercise, the amount of food you eat, the timing of your meals, how all these little changes can affect your digestion, because they do. The FODMAPs don't work on your body in isolation. There are a lot of other things that you can adjust and control to really improve your results when you're doing the FODMAP diet and in your life in general, and you really get to learn that during the elimination phase. All right, pitfalls. So the first one is giving up too soon. And that often happens because you don't know what to expect. It's something you're not seeing results maybe. So definitely don't give up at least 6 weeks in. I would say most people need to give it a good 6 to 8 weeks to really see if they're having a noticeable, consistent improvement. All right, the next pitfall is expecting your IBS to go away completely. So I wish it would, but we have to kind of wrap our heads around the idea that the FODMAP diet isn't a cure for IBS. It's a learning diet that's going to help you manage IBS better. So for most people, and this is from my experience with thousands of people in the Facebook group and dozens of clients, it doesn't go away completely. Some people see 50% improvement, which can make a huge difference. Some people see 80, 90% improvement. It totally depends on the person, but you're not likely to completely eradicate IBS symptoms. All right, one more pitfall for the elimination phase is staying in the elimination phase indefinitely. So that's what I call elimination limbo. And it can be a really comfortable place, right? You know, when it's successful for you and you start feeling so much better, the idea of bringing back high FODMAP foods is kind of scary. A little hair on me there or something, I don't know. It's like one of those mystery hairs. So it can be a little intimidating and scary, which everybody feels that way, but there's no reason for avoiding all FODMAP foods for the rest of your life, because most people can reintroduce high FODMAP foods in some portion size. You might be really sensitive to some FODMAP groups, but maybe not so sensitive to others, so you have to test it and figure it out. All right, so that brings us to the next stage, which is the reintroduction phase. All right, I'm gonna check in with all my peeps here who are on the video. Make sure everything's looking good. If you are joining me, thank you so much. I see some people here live. I really appreciate it and love it. And there will be time for Q&A at the end for sure, all right? Give me a thumbs up if everything's sounding good and looking good. I always worry about the sound when I do a live streaming video. All right, so I'm just gonna carry on with the reintroduction phase. All right, what to expect? Expect to adapt the testing process to your life, not the other way around, okay? So in the reintroduction phase, the big goal is to test every FODMAP category. You test one food from each of the 9 categories so you can learn your tolerance level for that category. And this process takes some time. As you might imagine, there's 9 groups. So you have to make it fit you. This is not a one-size-fits-all process, and it shouldn't be. You need to be able to go at your own pace. You need to be able to take breaks if you're traveling, or if it's the holidays, you can't be testing when there's all this other stuff going on. So definitely know and expect to adapt it to your life. The next thing to expect in the reintroduction phase, I have a good example of this. I'm glad I have my notes to remind me. So what I mean by adapting it, this will really show what I mean. I had a member of my free to eat program, so I'm guiding them through the reintroduction phase. She had a really stressful job with long hours, and she didn't want to risk getting major symptoms during the work week. It was just too much to deal with. So what she did was timed it so that she was testing a medium or a larger amount of a high FODMAP food on Thursday or Friday. So if she got symptoms, they would come on the weekend. And it made her go a little more slowly through the process, but it was totally worth it for her. And I just love how she came up with that. She didn't even ask for my advice. She just kind of figured it out, because I really tell people and try to help people adapt this to you, because otherwise it's not doable, right? Okay, so the other thing to expect in the reintroduction phase is to quickly learn when to expect symptoms. So one of the biggest questions I get from people who are getting ready to start reintroducing FODMAPs is, how will I know if I'm getting a symptom from the food, or how will I know what's causing my symptoms? So as you bring back these test foods, and remember, you're eating a low FODMAP diet except for the high FODMAP foods you're testing. As you do this once or twice, you will see the pattern. It doesn't fail 99% of the time. So most people see it really consistently. So remember, a FODMAP reaction happens 6 to 8 hours after you eat a food. So a lot of people will say, I know that I get symptoms. If I get them, it's 24 hours later, and maybe you can't pinpoint it by the hour, but you really will see that pattern emerge. So it's not something to worry about. It's just something that you kind of learn by doing and get confident by doing. All right, pitfalls. There are some pitfalls for the reintroduction phase, for sure. I'm gonna have to do something on pitfalls just for this sometime, but A few of the biggest ones are being afraid of giving yourself major symptoms. Everyone's afraid of this. It's completely understandable. But the way that you avoid that in the reintroduction phase is to do it in a really systematic, organized way. And so that means you're starting with a small serving of your test food. So small, smaller than, a normal portion, a normal single serving would be, like half a serving or less. And that way, if you get kind of real noticeable symptoms from that tiny, tiny bit, you know that you stop there. You know that you are very sensitive to that FODMAP, and so you don't increase the portion and risk getting even worse symptoms. So that's how you avoid it, and it's just following that system. Pitfall number 2, expecting symptoms to happen right after eating a high FODMAP food. So, and this is, there's so much confusion around this, and I can see why, because sometimes we eat, right, and then immediately we're feeling bloated or some other symptom, but that's because there's food moving through your digestive system constantly, and when you eat it kind of moves some more, and whatever's been in there is reaching the large intestine. And that's important because FODMAP reactions happen in the large intestine. That's where those undigested FODMAPs ferment and cause gas and bloating, which leads to diarrhea and constipation, depending on which one your body goes for. So it's it's knowing when to expect those symptoms. If you have symptoms right after eating, it's likely due to something that you ate earlier, or it's due to something besides FODMAPs in the food. A great example is how broccoli just gives some people digestive symptoms no matter what, even if they don't have IBS. So food can upset you for lots of reasons. You could have had a horrible, stressful day at work, and that's giving you a reaction no matter what you eat. So the pitfall is to expect symptoms right away, and the way to alleviate that is to really recognize when your symptoms tend to arise by kind of keeping a record of it. Okay, hope that came out clear. Got a little rambly there. The next pitfall for the reintroduction phase, this is the last one, I had 3 for this, is bringing back high FODMAP foods before you finish testing all the FODMAP groups. So what I mean is, let's say you test lactose first, and you have a pretty high tolerance for milk and yogurt and ice cream, and the thing is, you have to wait until you're done testing to bring back all those foods regularly into your diet. Because even if you have a great tolerance for them, they do still contain FODMAPs. They still contain some level of lactose that's not triggering your symptoms, but if you're eating that lactose and then you're also eating your test foods, the FODMAP load can accumulate and kind of catch up with you. So you want to make sure you're eating a low FODMAP diet throughout the testing process. And then when you're done, you start bringing things back. And it's amazing, I didn't even plan for that to dovetail, but that takes us into the next phase of the FODMAP diet, and that's the post-reintroduction phase. So this is where you've tested all the FODMAP categories and really gotten a great idea of your tolerance level for each one. All right, so what you can expect after the reintroduction phase. You can expect to feel incredibly excited and proud to have identified your major IBS triggers. And you should, because like we've said, it takes some time, it takes some persistence to go through and test all the FODMAP categories. So you should feel amazing, and you should do something to celebrate, frankly. All right, so definitely expect to feel elated, because not a lot of people get to that point where they've gone through the whole process. All right, you can also expect, I have to scroll down in my notes here a second. Expect to continue doing experiments to discover your best lifetime eating style. So here's what I mean. Now you don't just test all these foods and stop. Then what do? Do you go back to elimination? Do you go back to eating anything you want? No. So what you'll do is just kind of casually, it doesn't have to be as systematic as the reintroduction phase. You start experimenting with frequency. So how many times can you eat a high FODMAP food that you tolerate in 1 week? In 1 day? Can you eat it once a day, 3 times a day? Is it better if you eat this high FODMAP food every other day? So you kind of play around with that a little bit. Then you can start seeing, well, can I eat 2 high FODMAP foods in the same meal? Can I eat 2 high FODMAP foods for lunch and then 2 for dinner? Can I do that every day? Maybe every couple days? You kind of start playing with that until you get to the point where you know how to eat instinctively. And this is all, again, like I said, a super kind of casual, fun little experiment, but all the time you're bringing back those high FODMAP foods and seeing what your new normal eating is really going to look like. All right, what else can you expect? Yeah. Those are my two you can expect post reintroduction. So that's really what it's all about. And it does help to sort of approach it in an experimental way. Like you're really taking some time to see what your new normal eating style is going to be. So in my programs, what I do is I give you a workbook to help you determine what your serving size should be for all the other high FODMAP foods in all those categories. So you've tested 9 foods, and so I give you sort of a method to figure out how much of all. So I got kicked off the internet. I tried to get back on, and I think I have gotten onto my phone, so I'm using my phone data to stream, and I think we're good, at least so I can finish this broadcast. All right, so talking about post-reintroduction phase, having the mindset and kind of a little framework to keep on bringing these foods back and getting to that point where you've got your new normal healthy eating style that's instinctive, and you understand how much you can have in a day, in a week, in one meal, and just keep doing those little experiments and approach it as this gradual lifestyle change to get you to where you want to be. So that's really what to expect. All right, the pitfalls of post-reintroduction phase are not adding well-tolerated FODMAPs back into your diet. So I've seen this happen. So you can do all the testing and you might find that you have a pretty high tolerance for, let's say, wheat, but you're kind of afraid to actually eat it. You keep on buying the gluten-free bread and the gluten-free cereal, and that's a mistake. You've done the testing. You can bring it back into your daily routine as slowly or as quickly as you want to. It's fine to start to keep on, going with small portions just until you feel really secure and confident to bring it back in a more relaxed way. So that's definitely a pitfall, is not bringing back the high FODMAP foods you can tolerate. And the second pitfall is forgetting that this is a long-term lifestyle change. So that means it can happen gradually. It doesn't have to happen in 6 weeks. The testing process on average takes 8 to 10 weeks, maybe 12, kind of depends. Like I said, you can definitely make it fit your life. So I say 8 to 12 weeks. And really getting to the point where you're truly bringing back all these foods and understanding, how it works in a real normal day of eating, that might take another couple of months, and that's okay because you're making a long-term lifestyle change. And those big changes, like, you read in magazines all the time, you want to make a big change that's going to stick, you kind of have to do it slowly. And that's perfectly okay. So that's actually why I changed the format of my group program, Free to Eat, into a 6-month support program. So instead of saying, okay, we're going to focus and we're just going to test foods for 8 weeks and we're going to do it, I've been hearing from clients that you guys need to be able to go at your own pace. You need to be able to have long-term support so that it doesn't feel so stressful, so that it can be this permanent lifestyle change. So that's why I've changed the format of my program, and it'll be starting in, maybe next week, I think, registration opens. So that's kind of the approach that I'm going with now, is making this a lifestyle change that will stick with you long term, because it's amazing when you get to that point. All right, if you want to learn more about testing FODMAPs, I'm doing a workshop on the reintroduction phase on October 16th. So it's 6 steps to find your IBS triggers and break free from IBS. So it's all about helping you get started with the reintroduction phase. So I'm going to put the little link right here on my video screen. Where is it? Okay, there it is, and I'll put it in the description as well. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you so much, live viewers who found the video again. If you didn't hear, I just got booted off the internet by my internet cable provider, who does not make me very happy these days. So can I answer any questions? I would love to answer your questions. I'm thrilled that you're here with me still after all the Comcast. Okay. If you think of something for follow-up, I'm going to try to edit these two videos together and re-upload it, but I'd love to answer your questions about any of this or FODMAP questions in general, so please feel free to tag me in the comments. And thank you so much. I see a question from Shirley Ann. What are your thoughts on consul fiber? I'm not familiar with it, Shirley Ann, I'm sorry. If you can type in real quick what kind of fiber it is it like a Metamucil fiber product? Fiber, it's fine to take fiber supplements during the FODMAP diet. It's sometimes really important to have these extra things that can help along your symptoms, because there are so many factors at play in your digestion. FODMAPs can make a huge difference, but sometimes the extra fiber is really helpful, things like that. So as long as there are no high FODMAP ingredients, which I'm just not sure what that is, then you should be fine. And when you add fiber, always start really slowly, because too much fiber at once can have the opposite effect. But that's kind of my job. It's like Metamucil. Okay, then if you aren't sure, you can post a picture of the ingredients in the Calm Belly Kitchen Facebook group, and people will take a look. If I don't see it, somebody will give you an answer right away. But if you need to be sure. But yeah, just start slow, and I think it's fine. All right, guys, thanks again for watching, and I will see you back next week, hopefully with my internet much, much, much better, all right? Don't forget to sign up for the free workshop. It's totally free, all about getting ready to do the reintroduction phase. All right, talk to you later. Bye.